Well, I've been asked to I've never done a full walk around on the Gladiator. I'll do a full walk around on the Gladiator now and then I'm going to follow it up with how quick it is to load what I load. So I guess we'll start at the front and we'll work our way towards the back. And this is about a year's worth of work that's gone on to get it to where it is right now. So at the front, you can see we have a rugged ridge stubby bumper, and I chose that one just because it was on sale. If you bought the front and the rear, you got like $400 off if you bought two of them, so I bought both. So I went with that on the front. The Warren winch, this is of course an old winch. It's only a 9000, but it's the old series wound Warren 9000. I got it for free by doing work for somebody, so I had a hard time putting money out for a bigger winch, and just hopefully I won't get stuck where I need the whole weight of the vehicle to be towed by the winch. I also got rugged ridge headlight guards. American Adventure Labs, I went with the chopped fenders. This was a Sport Max tow, so it had all of the big plastic all the way down to the bottom. For rims, I chose these. These are the bead grip technology from Method. Everyone that I've talked to, you can run these down to about 5-6 psi, like in the snow and stuff, and you won't lose a bead. They have an inner rim around the tire, so it kind of works like a double security on that rim. You can't go down to those lower pressures, down to below 5, I think is not recommended, but that's what we got. For a lift, if you check my other video out, you can see I put on an Evo 2.5 lift overland lift, and you can kind of see under here some of that. Also, you'll notice, I'll get down here, we have RCVs, we have Yeti and Fox for steering, taking care of the steering. Have a couple of skid plates on the control arms on the front, the Artec skid plate on the front axle disconnect. And again, sometimes I get things because they're on sale and I don't know if I'm satisfied with them or not, but somebody returned these Terraflex disconnects. Again, this was a Sport Max tow, so it didn't have any of the electric disconnects. So I've been using that. It does make a little bit of noise. These washers tend to rattle a little bit when you get on washboards and stuff like that, but I've been using that because, again, it was in an open box return deal and I got it cheap. Fox 2.0 shocks all the way around. If you're not familiar, you can go look on my install, but the Evo does come with drop down brackets on the front, so you use stock control arms on it. On the front, this is Cascadia solar panel, 100-watt solar panel. Helps keep things charged up when I'm camping and such. The front light, that is the Quadratec light, and the nice thing about it is it just totally plugs right into everything in the dash and nobody can steal it. It doesn't get mud all over it. So far it's worked really well. I did have to adjust a couple of the seals to get it tight against the window so you had no flash down on the dash. But if you take your time and install it, you can get that done. Up on the top is a GoPro mount. A lot of you watch my videos will see that view where the front, you're looking down at the trail from the front. That's how we do that. CB radio antenna. On this side, this is the Rugged Ridge snorkel. I went with a low mount because I don't figure I'm going to get water any higher than that. And so that's just for precaution. It's been on there pretty much since the truck was new. Works great. Down here, these are rock hard sliders, and then I have a modification I do to sliders where I reinforce the pinch seam. Let me see if I can get down here and show you. So besides having a pinch seam mount, we also have steel behind the pinch seam on each side. So it all fit in there just fine. So you can see these mount to the body, they mount to the pinch seam, they're solid. Underneath, these are, I have been very happy with them. I did have to trim that out a little bit. That's the Artec aluminum skid plate. The advantage of this right off the bat is how much do you pay to get an 1.5 inch more tire on to get more clearance, to get 3/4 of an inch clearance? Well, figure out what you end up paying on lift and tire to accomplish that. The Artec, this is a tummy tuck. It lifts your tummy up 3/4 of an inch. So you gain 3/4 of an inch by putting this on without any lift kit at all. So that's what works great for it. It's done well. It's got some signs of use, but it works. All the arms are stock. Everything on the engine is still stock. And back here, these are made by Rusty's. They're the leading control arm skid plates. Got them on each side. They protect the lower control arms. We'll talk about the back here in just a second. So there's a lot of articulation issues with the rear end on a Gladiator. It's awful flat. I think there's another company making these now. These happen to be TerraFlex, but they spread the arms a little bit at the top, raise the top arm from the rear, and so far they haven't come loose or anything. You see they got 3 bolts on them, and they bolt up, and your control arms basically are spread at the top, give them a little bit more articulation. There is an Artec truss that's welded on. And again, Evo, these are the Evo coils, but these are the 4.5 inch instead of the 2.5. Just a little explanation on that. I had the 2.5 lift with all the weight I put on here when I am really seriously camping for a week or whatever. It was too much like this on the trail. So I went with their HD, their heavy duty 4.5 inch rear coils, and that settled everything down to where it feels solid on the trail now. All right. There is a kind of a video already on this, but this is all homemade. These are LOD destroyer guards, and then I cut mine out to make a step. I think the factory, they just did a little triangle there. I cut them out to make another step. This is the Rugged Ridge rear bumper, which kind of matches the front one. We go all the way around. I bought a full set of them. People are putting them on the Gladiators just to try to keep some of the mud off. These are just homemade, made out of a heavy-duty rubber that I had. On the rear ones, I made a metal bracket as well. You can see to go over. Oh, these are the metal cloak reinforcements that reinforce your rear sway bar. I have those on here. Again, Fox 2.0 shocks. Under the hood, I made this little mount here. This mount is for my air chuck for filling my tires. It goes down to an ARB pump, which you can kind of see down here. You can also see this a little aluminum wall I built between the exhaust header and the pump. That really seems to help keep it cool. That piece of aluminum reflects all the heat back from it. This is the Way of Life mount that he sells, that we put the ARB on. That runs both the air lockers, of course, and then my air fill for my tires. I ran the air for that instead of leaving it on the pump. The air filter's up under here. Again, just trying to keep water out of my compressor, so that was my thinking on that. You will see all of my vents have been extended them up till they're all high. The other ones are extended back under here. This is for the rugged ridge. This is the Cascadia system that monitors when it's charging, not charging. It won't allow it to overcharge. I just stuck it down with sticky tape. Then it also has leads on it. You can see you could actually run directly. You could run something off of just the solar power and ignore the battery and just run it from the solar power. I haven't hooked anything up with those leads yet, but it is possible to do so. And I guess that's it. Right now, still running stock batteries. 3 years. I know that might not be good much longer, but it's still working. So under warranty in 5 days. So if my batteries go after that, I'm gonna have to pay for them myself. But all right, yeah, this is a 2020, so it does have the engine cover and it does have the insulating thing for the hood. That also works great for that Cascadia. Helps keep the engine heat from building up on the solar panel. What to do with all the stickers? Well, right now, I just kind of put them down there along the bottom. I figure if nothing else, they'd help protect against gravel nicks and crannies. That's also what these are for. Bought them online and just use them to cover, to keep, if you haven't noticed, the rocks will hit those hinges and chip them real bad. This has helped keep any of that from happening. These I got in a scratch and dent sale. Put my own little screws in them to match the screws on this. They don't go all the way through, but they're just typical vent visors. I like the in-channel ones because they're tucked back in and not hanging way out from the vehicle. The other thing you'll notice on the homemade topper is that it angles in so that when it's fully loaded, and I'll show you that in a minute, it still sits right behind. So on this side, my ladder for my rooftop tent goes. I have a water tank that goes on this side. On this side, I have my Rotopax fuel, and I have my shovel and my bucket. And all of that stuff then is tucked in, doesn't stick out past the mirror when it's on here. So when you're off-road, it's really good to know that if you're clearing it with your tires and your fenders, and even if you're leaning a lot, I like that stuff tucked in, not sticking way out. So that was my thought there. These hooks here, they might look real innocent. I actually have like a bowed arm that comes out here and plugs into a tent. So it's like a privacy shelter. It comes back about 8 feet from the back of the truck. And it's about 7 feet tall and has a big arcing pole. I had to make the poles myself and make it myself, but it really works good. It's just basically a screen awning, and then it has a rain fly on it. 37 by 1250 by 17s. And I've been happy with the Nittos. I've never had Nittos before. They've done well. These have about, I'm going to say they have about 28,000 miles on them right now. So they're hanging in there pretty good. I've been rotating them and keeping up on them. So I'll show you what I did on the inside. So this is a homemade topper, but it wasn't completely homemade. This used to fit a long Chevy Love. It was like a 1978 topper. Somebody used it for a doghouse for about 10 or 15 years. All the windows were broke out of it except for one. I kept that one window, and that does still work, that crank out window on that side. And the aluminum was all shot on it. Kids had jumped on it, had been used as a trampoline. But I noticed the front window was still good, and most of the frame of it was still good. So I took the original frame, and I peeled off the aluminum, and I ran this HDP marine grade siding on it. That's what that black is. It's you can see it's fairly thick, about a 1/4 inch thick, and that's all the marine grade stuff. So I'm using that on the inside, like where the Rotopax mounts. You can see I reinforced. I have a plate going through this, and it's also wrapped onto this, and it's screwed through in about 8 places. This is all removable fairly quickly, so there's 5 clamps on each side to remove it. These are actually screwed, as you can see, together with this frame. It's all screwed together, and then as same with going across the top, this is all together across the top. These by themselves are supposed to hold 800 pounds. Now I don't have 800 pounds to put up there. My tent is about 160, and with both of us in it, we might get close to, let's see, my wife's 100 and some, 300. We might get close to 500 pounds, nowhere near 800. My son, I had to make this out of aluminum, and then we have all sorts of recovery gear and stuff in these. Just used some of the metal from this. This holds a fishing pole, this holds that. I have an axe on this side that stays. I got my high lift jack mounted on this side. Got a snow shovel there, which is important because I live in Montana. We deal with snow a lot. It came coated from the factory, but I put this down. This is just rubberized flooring. I had a project in my house that I used it on, so I decided the scrap piece I'd put in here. Keep my fluids handy. I got several of them there, and that's just, all of the stuff is not screwed to the bed, it's screwed to the flooring, so it sticks that way. This is my power outlet. I put that in myself, but I ran real heavy wire as opposed to what you get on a stock one, so I can run some pretty substantial stuff out of there. I ran my fridge, which I'll show you here in a minute. I ran my fridge for 6.5 weeks straight, day and night, and it ran just totally fine off of that. And I think that's about it. You can see the lights in here. These are just little Walmart lights, and they use AAA batteries, so I don't have to worry about running my battery dead if I leave those on. So while I'm cooking and everything, I'll just throw those backlights on. Of course, there's the bed lamps on. I can have those on. And you can see I've got other lights all around for outside of it. Old spring loaded. This back window needed to be replaced, so I got a piece of plexiglass and cut it and replaced it. And that's all hand done stuff. Okay, before I tighten things down, I'll show you. So this wood is cut to fit front and rear, so that it tucks in there, so the wood also helps anything from sliding. Then the strap around it will go right in here. You can see how that fits now, how tight it is. It keeps it from moving up or down or side. Same with this side. You can see the way it locks around there. Then I have a little spice rack I put between here. So you can see, this is my little spice drawer, and this, and all of this shuts just fine and tight, keeps it locked in there. A few other things. When I'm camping, I just use these Jif jars for my silverware. And I keep them handy right there. I also can store a few of the safe propane bottles back here. There's a... If I'm just camping 1 or 2 days, I don't hook up the big propane bottle. My big propane bottle, as I said, there's straps on the back of that, and there's a ring cut out, so it sets right behind the fridge here. It straps down, and I just run the hose up, and I can use, like when I'm doing a month-long trip, I just leave that hooked up for propane. I'm doing just a 2 or 3 day camping. One of those usually will last me 3 days, so it's fine. So I'll show you some of the next stuff. So this all goes in here pretty tight. It's all removable. You can get into everything. Works great. Doesn't move anywhere. And 6,237 miles, 1,000 of it, more than 1,000 of it on gravel and off-road. This stuff stayed just like this and did not break loose or do anything. And so that's my goal, is to make it so I can pull this in and out without it being bolted down, and yet have it strapped down solid enough that it'll take, well, I did Metal Masher, I did some of the other trails in Moab, and this stuff didn't come loose. And that was my main point, is to keep all this stuff tight, even on rugged trails. All right, so I built this little box here that goes on top of this drawer that I can, of course, pull out should I want to. And I keep a water jug here, so I have water handy when I'm cooking. Garbage bags, paper towels, plates. I just have space here I can use for several different things. In the bottom drawer, I put these compartments in it. And then the rest of the stuff I have just depends upon, it all just fits in there. So if I'm bringing the jet boil along, so I got my stove in there. These are all my plates and pots. I can just throw that in there. These, by the way, are Bass Pro non-stick. It is a great little set of pots. Compartments for all of my utensils. I can just throw them in here. So I keep this stuff stored handy. So before I go camping, it's real simple just to pull it out, decide what I need, throw it in the buckets. And again, these lights here make plenty of good light. This will get strapped down. It's loose right now, but it doesn't move much anyway. Tie down straps, so I can strap things down should I not use this, or if I'm doing something else. And I still have this set up. You notice there's a lot of space back behind yet. Well, that's where chairs go. That's where my privacy shelter goes. That's where the little portable loo goes, extra water. And then any gear I have a couple of these boxes, and those boxes will just go in there. If I'm on a really long trip, this cooler fits perfect back behind there, and I can keep all the drinks in there. Like when I was in Death Valley, I had that full of ice and drinks for the 4 days I was there, just for the added security of having some extra stuff. So nice thing is this is all lockable, so I can close it up, lock it up. With the tailgate locked, I don't think anybody's going to lift anything out of here. You can lock this drawer. I have that key also as well. So there you go. There's kind of the walk around. Some people were asking, well, how do you use all that and how do you live out of that? Well, this is how it works. For food, of course, all my cold food's in here. I actually keep a lot of my dry food in here. I can keep my, if I got tortilla shells, because I love to taco stuff, or bread or whatever, I can keep it in here and keep it totally safe. It doesn't get wet, it doesn't get scrunched, it doesn't get anything. Our coffee, we have a French press and cups and all of that fit in here. There's enough room here for the French press and the cups. It all goes in there. We have a grinder, which we fresh grind our coffee when we're out. All right. So can, people ask, with the rooftop tent, where do you store the ladder? For me, it stores right there. Again, it's within the side of the truck, so it doesn't go anywhere. We have a double Rotopax on this side, so we can stretch it out. Extra water. I'm not done with these spikes yet, if you're wondering what they are. I'm going to weld a couple of ends to them, possibly as an anchor point. If I ever needed it and I really didn't have anywhere to go, I could anchor it. So that's how this side sets up, and that's how quick it sets up. So in the morning, I just pick up my water and put the ladder on, put the water on. This side's done. I'll show you the other side real quick. Again, everything that I do, I try to keep this so that it's out of the way of the trail. A lot of our trails have trees and stuff on them. So, fuel. Okay, that's on, and in Montana, I don't know if it's the same in all states, it is required if you're camping to have a shovel and a bucket. So I just figured the easiest way for me not to forget to bring them would be always have a spot for it. Battery's about to die. Bucket usually goes here, shovel goes here. Again, everything is tucked within the vehicle, so if you're going down the trail, you don't have stuff hanging out beyond. Same with the tent. The tent is tucked in. It's narrower than the top of the vehicle all the way across, so we keep it that way. Go to, this is the GMRS antenna. I'll show you inside here a little bit, kind of show you the layout. People kind of asked about that. I got this years ago. It's just magnetic, and it works great for, you stick knives, clips, whatever you want to it. That's on the roll bar. This is where I mount my GPS. I also have a tablet I can mount on there, so I can have bigger maps if I want. It works great. What did I do as far as the differentials? Well, there's air lockers in them. So I set this up right here. These are the 4 auxiliary, and then I also have a trailer brake that I installed. So I just used this other side, made my own little plate out of it. Everything's installed right here. So got compressor and front and rear lockers. What else do I got going on here? Oh, this is by JCR Off-Road. It's really solid, but it enables me to mount both radios and have both of them accessible. The club I'm in uses this radio. The other club I ride with sometimes uses that radio. And family, I got some family that use CB, and I have some family that use this. So I just decided I'd just do both. And then this is Invictus Off-Road. I got that wrapped just for a couple of packages. We got stuff in here. Here is a handheld GMRS radio. So if somebody with me doesn't have a GMRS, we can charge that and give it to them, and then they have a radio to go with us. These are Cover King. They're well worn. They've been in here 3 years now. I just liked that it matched this pretty close. That was why I went with it. Let me think. I don't think there's anything else here. Let me show you the back. We're still using the rear seat. We haven't done a rear seat delete. We plan on keeping it for a while. Somebody bought these again. These are the JC our off-road panels. Got a hatchet on there, got my fire extinguisher on there. I have a first aid kit on there. I have a saw back there on the back of the roll bar. This is the back of that Invictus piece. Over here, that's my power inverter up there. I got that installed to run my coffee grinder and different things like that. It works great. Little orange trim pieces. I got that from family for Christmas. You know how it is. They look on, oh, that'd be cool. And it does kind of look cool. They didn't buy all of them, but they bought some for the dash and some for that. It's better than me painting it and messing it up, so that's good. Here's a switch for the light, by the way. It's pretty nice. It has both amber and white lights, and I probably will have a video here real soon on that. We're going to be going into a really remote campsite in the dark, and we'll probably play around and try to do some videos with the lights. Down here we keep flashlight. Oh, on the other side here, you can use your imagination what this magnetic thing is for, but let's just say a handle fits here and the barrel fits here, and it sits up there real nice. Extremely accessible.
I think that about ends everything that I can show you about the Jeep. We have used it, and I guess that's the most important thing. Whatever you have is you have to go out there and use it before you know actually what works and what doesn't work for your various situations that you're in. But all of this is holding up well, which is what we wanted. We wanted to make it easy, fast. We can get in and out of our tent in like 2 minutes and have our camp set up. Our sleeping bags do store in as long as we use our real thin sleeping bags. Everything is just about how quick can I get set up if it's going to rain for your cooking, how quick can I do this, how quick can I do that, how convenient is it to get and access things. So you'll notice I didn't cover, like under the rear seat, I still have all my tools inside so I can flip open the seat and get to it. All my recovery gears on one side, all of my air compressor stuff for filling tires is the other side. Just things like that to keep in mind. You want to keep your stuff where you can get to it and you can use it quickly. And that's the way we set this thing up. It just makes it really, really easy, and it's been great.